Did members of Congress give tours of the Capitol to pro-Trump rioters the day before the siege at Capitol Hill? That is the question tonight from a growing list of lawmakers leveling those charges and demanding answers. Fox 5's Tom FITZGERALD is on the Hill tonight to explain. Hi, Fitz.
Marina, good evening. Some members of Congress say they witnessed outside groups in the Capitol on January 5th receiving tours of the building. And tonight, they want to know if those tours provided intelligence support to the rioters who eventually stormed the building last Wednesday. In a letter to both the acting police chief of the U.S. Capitol Police and now the acting sergeants at arms of both the Senate and the House, a group of 30 members of Congress now are demanding an investigation and demanding answers. They are signed in part by two Virginia lawmakers. Mikey Sherrill of New Jersey is leading this group.
Those members of Congress who had groups coming through the Capitol that I saw on January 5th, a reconnaissance for the next day. Those members of Congress that incited this violent crowd. Those members of Congress that attempted to help our president undermine our democracy. I'm going to see that they're held accountable.
Meanwhile, some other lawmakers tonight are sounding alarms about the growing frequency of encampments up here on Capitol Hill. D.C.'s member of Congress, Eleanor Holmes Norton, has written the acting director of the National Park Service, reminding the director that camping on federal property is not only illegal, but in the midst of the security situation and the pandemic, could also pose a grave safety concern. At the same time, the former acting secretary of Homeland Security says he thinks lawmakers should shift their focus to the people who were directly responsible for actually storming the Capitol last week.
I think as we look back at the events of last week, I think certainly the president's words matter, and I think I've said that publicly on several occasions now. But obviously the individuals that stormed the Capitol, the rioters, the criminals that did that, obviously have a lot of blame for their actions themselves. And so I think that's important to keep in mind.
Meanwhile, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi tonight announcing that there will be a change in House rules on January 21st for the Republican members who have been outraged by the new presence of metal detectors at the House chamber doors. Some of them have tried to walk around this. Pelosi now says a first offense will cost them $5,000, a second offense $10,000. Those fines will be taken right out of their salary. Marina will send it back into you.
Fitz, we see how swiftly the House acted to impeach the president on inciting an insurrection. These allegations that these lawmakers are bringing, they're incredibly serious and they're incredibly accusatory. Have they named anybody?
They have not. And one of the big questions here is one of the reasons they have not named anybody is because they do not know the answer to the question that they are asking, whether or not these tours were somehow coincidental because of the fact that these people were in town the day before the Wednesday rally, or whether they specifically had something to do with this. So that is the goal of sending this letter, of launching this investigation, and trying to figure out whether or not there was any connection between the two.